Give a man, a weak man, constant fast food, constant entertainment, sex, women, cheap pleasures, and watch him. Watch what he does. He becomes ineffective. He forgets about his goals. All of a sudden, the fire in the belly burns out. And sadly, this is 95% of our men today. Even the top 5% struggle with this at times. I know for me, it's a constant battle. Pleasure and entertainment is constantly calling out to me, trying to reel me in. So today, let's discuss 5 traits that are proven to put a man in that top 5 percentile. Now, not only will these traits help you gain momentum, but they'll steadily make you more attractive and irresistible to women. Number 1, you gotta be mission focused. Not only be aware of pleasure and dopamine spiking substances that send you down a spiral of degeneration, but be aware of distractions. Even the best of us can get easily distracted. Bro, just this morning, I woke up, I went to the bathroom, was taking my daily, routinely deuce, and I'm sitting there on the can. I grab my phone, I start replying to all these comments, and all of a sudden there's this thread of like haters, and so I start replying back to them, and then all of a sudden 10, 20, 30 minutes go by, and I'm sitting there arguing with all these people, and all of a sudden my wife starts knocking on the door. She peeks her head in, and she's like, "What are you doing?" And I'm sitting there, I look up at her, and I'm like, I'm sitting here spending all this valuable time trying to convince people that are committed to misunderstanding me. I'm sitting here all aggravated, acting like a straight soy boy. So anyways, I head to the shower, and while I'm in the shower, I start talking to my wife while she's in the bathroom, and I start telling her how angry I am with myself and how I spent all this time commenting when I could have been productive. I could have been making like 2 or 3 shorts to help build up my business. And you know what she said to me? She said, "Look at all the top dogs like Elliot Holz, Hamza. You don't see them in the comments arguing with people. They say what they gotta say in their videos, and then boom, mic drop." And I was like, ooh. I was like, baby, hey, that's pretty good. Let's freaking go. I'm gonna talk about that in my video. So hey, what I learned this morning is that it's even the small little things that you gotta be aware of, the little distractions that take your eyes off the mission. Me arguing with little 14-year-olds behind a computer screen, I don't think that's part of my mission, bro. Even looking back on my life, I mean, a lot of you guys know, you guys have heard my story. I was addicted to for 15, 16 years. But looking back, I can see I just had way too much time on my hands, right? I literally had just too much free time. And so you gotta really look at your life as a whole. Even if you have a job and say you work 9 to 5, for the rest of the day, from 5 to say 10, if you got free time, if you got nothing going on during that time, that's not good, bro. That's where cheap pleasures, laziness, addictions, temptations start to seep into your life. You gotta have something constantly going on. You cannot have free time. Don't get me wrong, a day of rest is cool. You know, having a day where you go to church, have family day, whatever. But for the most part, be productive, be useful at all times. Have a lifestyle that literally puts the pressure on to where you have to man up, you have to level up, you gotta be sharp, right? Like me doing YouTube here, I have to constantly be learning. If I have any free time at all, I gotta be diving into these books, right? I gotta constantly feed you guys with new content and tips and advice. So I gotta constantly be filling up my mind with knowledge and wisdom so I can share it with you, right? Number 2, stoicism, commonly known as a toxic masculine trait. It's crazy, bro. Literally, when you type in the words toxic masculine traits into Google, stoicism is 3rd on the list. It's a long lost, forgotten art that most men don't even practice these days. Instead, they listen to culture telling them things like,
"It's okay for men to be weak and to be soft and sensitive. It's okay to be emotional, just let it all out. Women want men who are vulnerable and who are at one with their emotions." While telling women to stiffen up that upper lip, be strong. And this is what they try to do. They try to reverse the roles. They get everybody all confused. And as a result, most of our women today are heeding to this advice. They're being told that tradition is antiquated. Times have changed. But don't you listen to this, my brothers. Don't you fall for it. Don't be like the 95% of all the other men out there. Let's make men strong again. Let's be tough again. It's wild. I just got this comment from this woman today,
And I loved it. It's the hard truth. She says, girl here, nothing more disgusting than a man who can't control his emotions. Weak and pathetic. A huge turnoff. I've only seen my dad cry when his dad died. And I've never heard him talk about his feelings, and I respected him for that. She said, I like being told what to do. It makes me feel safe that he's in charge. Now look, hey, don't get me wrong. Everybody gets emotional, especially sometimes us men. But stoicism isn't the removal of emotion. It's just telling the emotion, telling all those feelings, hey, you don't run the show anymore. You don't call the shots, right? And there's this 21 Pilots lyric from Holding On To You that I love. It says something like, tie a noose around your mind, tie it to a tree, and tell it you belong to me. So look, as men, we gotta take control again, my brothers. Stop getting so emotional. Men these days, instead of keeping their energy down in their nuts, their nutsack, it's all up here, constantly erupting. So keep your composure. Be like a pillar, right? What does a pillar do? It upholds. It's immovable. So be immovable for your family, your wife, your kids. And look, hey, I don't mean to get too perverted here. I don't mean to get too explicit, but why do you think God gave us men penises? What does a penis do? First of all, it gets strong, it gets solid, it penetrates, right? And that's what a woman wants. She wants a big, nice, strong, solid, penetrating penis. I mean, man, right? Number 3, confident tonality. Now, we've talked plenty of times here on this channel about having a more confident presence, really embracing that masculinity and just taking up space, relaxing, being calm. But what we don't usually talk about is our tonality, our tone of voice. Take a look at the popular kid in high school, the popular dude that all the girls like in middle school, high school. What do? They're very obnoxious, right? They're the class clown. They're loud, always cracking jokes and always trying to stand out. But when you transfer over into manhood, when you actually become a man, that boy-like behavior, it starts to fade away, or at least it should start to fade away. But like a lot of men these days, they don't transition into manhood properly. They don't understand that as a man, confidence is just all about relaxing into yourself, being calm, even with your tone of voice. I don't need to be loud. I don't need to make myself stand out to seem confident. That actually makes you seem more insecure. This is a very masculine thing to do. The second you start letting your voice start to peak up, you start to get loud, all of a sudden, your balls are severed. You've emasculated yourself. Now, don't get me wrong. Of course, there's going to be times in certain scenarios in your life where you get a little fun, maybe get a little wild with the bros, or get a little silly with your girl. I'm not saying that. What I am saying is when you're with your girl, especially in the beginning of your relationship, just be calm, relax, rest into your voice. Watch that tone. A lot of us get real nervous energy and our voice starts to peak up here. The second it does that, just be aware of it, bring it back down. Be a man, speak from your nuts. And what that mellow tone is going to do is it's going to showcase stability and confidence. Number 4, boundaries. Boundaries are powerful, bro. A man who has no boundaries has no self-respect. He's toxic to himself and those around him. He has a very low standard. He thinks he's living freely. He thinks watching sleeping with whoever he wants. He thinks being lazy, eating whatever he wants, immersing himself into all this entertainment. He thinks it's freedom, but in actuality, it's straight bondage. See, when you set a higher standard for yourself, when you set those boundaries in your life, it paradoxically creates more freedom for your life. It's like the image of children playing at the edge of a cliff. If you build walls there, if you build a structure, all of a sudden the kids, now they can play more freely and happily, right? But if there is no walls, now the kids have to ask themselves, what are my boundaries? And then they have to come up with their own answers and what they think is right. And then they start thinking, how close can I get to the edge without falling off? And that's our world today, bro. What do? We set our own standards. We cancel out God. We cancel out tradition. And we think it's right. And what does the Bible say? It says there's a way that seems right to a man, but in the end, it leads to destruction. See, that's why so many of our men today, they're weak, they're broken, they're lost. They went down this route, this path that they thought was right, but every time, what did it do? It led to destruction. So if you want to maximize yourself as a man, you want to set yourself apart from the rest, create those boundaries in your life. Set those standards. This is what I do, and this is what I don't do. I've set these boundaries in my life because I know outside of them, that life won't make me a better man. That life won't get me closer to God. And number 5, be fruitful. You need to have content, bro. And I'm not talking being a content creator or influencer, but have substance to you. In a way, you yourself, you're kind of like a brand. And as a brand, what do you have to offer? You can't keep selling the same thing. You got to constantly update yourself. Have something new about you. Have something new to talk about, be about. Have something new that you can teach somebody, offer somebody. You know how excited my wife gets when I tell her something new I'm doing? Or if I tell her something new that I'm learning that she can now apply to her life? How about if I take her somewhere new and do something with her that I've never done before? And that's what you got to do. You got to keep your girl on her toes a little bit. Right? Be exciting, not so predictable all the time. Constantly rebrand yourself. Ask yourself, who do I want to become next? It's wild. You always see these couples who say, oh, we've just grown apart, and then they get in a divorce. And it's true. Couples tend to either grow together or they tend to grow more apart. And usually when they say they grow apart, usually it's one of them just drifting, and usually it's the man. Just being honest, usually it's the man not progressing in life, not pushing himself, and ultimately not becoming more fruitful in his life, while she is doing all these things. And I like what Shia LaBeouf said in his recent podcast. He said, part of learning is dying. You gotta allow your old self to die in order to make room for your new self. You got to make room for fresh fruit to grow. What does the Bible say? The Bible says, be fruitful and multiply, right? And one of the most attractive things a man can do is what? Lead his family, lead his girl, and to lead them into new territory. But he can't do that if he's never bearing any new fruit. He can't do that if all he's bearing is old twigs and weathered branches. As a man, you can't just have the same mindset that you did 2 years ago, 3 years ago, whatever. You need to constantly have new fruit, new things to talk about, new vision, new perspective. With that said, I hope you guys all enjoyed today's video. Now, if you are sick of the world, sick of culture and all its distorted ways, and you really want to embrace your masculinity as a man and catapult your life to that next level, you gotta check out this video right here. It's powerful. It'll change your life. Until next time, I'll see you all very soon. Peace always.